you know, digging out sweet potatoes is a lot like a treasure hunt, and you got to follow the clues. So this is kind of fun because, you know, you find one root and then you follow it to the end. And I'm sitting here doing this on January 1 thinking, you know what? I think this is going to be the kind of reflection that I have to do this year in order to find the treasures. So, like for example, you know, I've got this one long root. It goes to a potato somewhere, but sometimes you really have to dig for the treasure. And I think maybe this year is one of those years for me where I'm really gonna have to sit down and dig really deep in order to figure out what lessons am I taking away from 2025 and what goals are going to be reasonable for me for 2026. What dreams do I want to continue to pursue? And which ones do I want to let go of? Ta-da! You know, sometimes they're little treasures that you find when you dig, but also sometimes they're like this one. Sometimes they're like this mamma jamma. But you really have to dig. And you never know what you're going to find, whether it will be big or little. Or sometimes, by the end of the year, you're digging up your produce and something did not grow at all this year that you planted. You got nothing from it. And yet, there's signs of something starting. What you planted is still alive. It just didn't produce this year. So I planted sweet potatoes. I've gotten a great harvest out of these, but I've really had to dig for it. I also planted white potatoes and I got nothing. Nothing. Not a single one. And here I am digging over my bed, and what do I find? One of my white potatoes. It's still firm, it's healthy, it's viable, and it is sending out roots. So while I didn't get produce or white potatoes this year, I can replant this in the next year, cultivate it with a little bit more intention, and maybe, just maybe, in the next year, I'll get a harvest of white potatoes. But I do know that when you're thinking about your year, it's easy to think about all the things that went wrong. Our brains are wired for negativity. But a question that you have to ask is, what went right this year? What worked this year? Because success leaves clues. And the way you multiply that success is by doing more of what worked. So in this next year, literally I will be planting more sweet potatoes because it has fed us multiple times. Hi, baby. All right. And that's just out of this one little corner. Like, this year was pretty deep for me. I don't know how it was for y'all. But, you know, my paper product business and art business didn't do as great as I wanted it to. I feel like at the end of the year, I mean, overall, I lost money. And I definitely didn't make as much of a return on my investments as I wanted to. All right, I gotta pull all this. It's like you have to take turns. You gotta do the right side and then the middle And then the left side. Make sure you didn't miss anything. And then that's just like reflection and journaling. Gotta dig on one side, turn everything over in your mind. And the other part of this too is that turning over all this mulch that I put on top of these potatoes, which is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to layer them up, mound them up. But by digging and turning it all over, it's actually going to speed up the composting process of this mulch by mixing all this bacteria and enzymes and everything in the soil that breaks it down, and the heat that's in there. And it's actually going to break down the leafy mulch that's on the top. Shredded bark and chicken manure and stuff that I've put in here. So by putting it now on the bottom, it will get warm and it will break down. So, you know, that's kind of like turning things over at the end of the year. You're really giving yourself a chance to mix it all up, break it all down, and start prepping your soil for the next year, the next planting season. So, you know, at the very least, we're improving our soil, whether or not we got a harvest. And maybe that's what my year was. Maybe my year was about improving my soil, not about reaping a harvest. But also, you know, we've talked on the podcast before about, hey, maybe what you wanted to reap isn't what actually multiplied. Maybe it was something else. Like, you know, I planted grapes and I wanted to harvest grapes, and they didn't do diddly squat this year. But I got an overwhelming abundance of tomatoes. And you gotta roll with what grows. Something's been eating this one. What's been eating you? So don't overlook the abundance that's right in front of your nose just because it's not what you wanted. So, like I said, my art business didn't do great this year. But I did really great at my 40-hour-a-week pay the bills job, engineering. I mean, I crushed that this year. I did awesome, quite honestly. I don't know if that will bear any fruit yet or not. We'll find out in March, but quite honestly, I did awesome at that. But also, I made the pivotal decision to really intentionally go after coaching instead of just artwork. I mean, I definitely want to coach through my artwork. I want to provide inspirational things for people. But one of the ways that that's going to happen is by being informed through coaching about what helps people. Really, I'm getting close to my onions, I could smell them. Really, truly, what is helpful for people? What tools do we need at the ready? What paper goods do we need in order to support our emotional needs? And I'm not gonna learn that by sitting in an art studio painting. I mean, I'll know what I need, but I won't know what you need until I take a walk in your shoes. And so I've decided to pursue coaching as a branch of this business, as a branch of my identity and gifting and what I want to put out into the world in order to help people, practically speaking, to get in there, to dig in with someone, help them dig out their weeds and plant seeds for a future of intention and harvest and growth and good things and learning, and every day growing more and more into the image of Christ. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I think getting to heaven is a group effort. So if we don't get in with each other and help each other, we won't be able to see our blind spots. And so that's an intentional pivot. It's a new seed that I chose to plant this year, and so I didn't get any harvest from that this year. But there are signs of little sprouts, maybe. Good feedback. And I've already started creating some of the tangible tools for that, and I'm getting to use my artwork with that too, and so that's cool. I just haven't had the clarity this year that I usually walk into my new year with, and it's throwing me off. So quite honestly, the very best thing I could have done today was to come out here and dig for buried treasure. Because like I said, sometimes you really have to dig into your year to find the little hidden gems. So that's what I'm reflecting on today, January 1, and I just thought that I would share that with you. I hope you find it helpful, and I'm really hoping to send you more gardening videos this year, spending more time out here with you and reflecting on the light bulb moments and ahas that I get just by being out here. Oh, hello, worm. And see, sometimes when you start to dig in, you find little helpers. Look how healthy and strong he is. He's really going to town on this compost, and I love it because it's going to help me. And it's going to feed my plants. Who are the helpers in your year this year? Who helped feed your soil? Because that's a gratitude journaling right there. Thank you, God, for the helpers in 2025. Man, he is fat. He has been busy. I love it. All right, I guess enough philosophy for today. I'm gonna finish getting in, literally, getting my hands dirty and digging in while I sit here in my own thoughts. All right, Happy New Year, everybody.